Greetings, ladies and mentalgets, and welcome to this latest episode of Tales from Outer Space, where I take a space-related story from around the internet and read it out loud for your enjoyment. All the relevant links are down below. Please don't forget to do the usual YouTube gumph, because if you don't, the nanite swarms will steal your other sock. But more importantly, as always, I hope that you enjoy. I'd quickly like to thank the following Tier 5 patrons and channel members for supporting the channel: Datamagnet and Bob the Dragon. Thank you very much. Story number 1. 700 Unexpected Bioweapons. Written by Dragonson04. My people, the Agro, are the greatest hunters in the known galaxy. Our rare mammalian characteristics make us formidable in any field. But hunting, now there is where we're meant to be. Hunting the great koala lizards in our whole world is how one becomes a hunter. You aren't even considered to be a person until you've killed at least 10 of them. Hunting the cocknolls in their treetop nests on the moon with a gravity 1.5 times greater than our home is how you become a legend. I hunted these and countless more and countless worlds over 87 cycles, never once knowing defeat. And now, on this primitive death world, I face the end and the taint of failure for the first time. Initial scan showed the gravity was nearly 4 times greater than my home. I'd hunted on high-gravity worlds and moons before, but nothing like this. Local animals were beyond anything I'd ever seen. Advantages from lethal venoms, unstoppable strength and speed, natural armor, to nearly perfect natural optical camouflage when seen throughout all of one observed. Had cunning. That was a rare thing in lesser animals on any world, but every single animal seemed to display it to some degree. So I found the weakest animal on the planet and chose it as my target. A fellow bipedal mammalian. It seemed a decent challenge at the time. It has been 2 local solar cycles since the hunt began, and I am already dying. Death Worlders are well named. The very air burns my lungs. Perhaps it is a product of my landing area, the dry and desolate place with a heat that I'd never experienced or even heard of. I needed to break out my equipment for hostile atmospheres just to survive. Every bit of local plant life is toxic. I can't resupply through smaller hunts, as the animals eat those toxic plants, or eat the things that eat the toxic plants. I only have enough supplies in my ship for 4 more local solar cycles. I need to finish this quickly. Local reptilian predator attempted to bite me, but missed like the stars. After killing it in retaliation, I analyzed the venom. I need to relocate. Relocation unsuccessful. Every biome on this death world has its own dangers. Temperature is either lethally hot or bone-freezingly cold. Air that is hard to breathe in seems to be everywhere. Atmospheric analysis shows that it is no different from our homes, and yet it hurts. Local animals seem to be able to see through the cloak on my ship. Every time I land, there is a large predator or pack of predators defending its territory. How can organic eyes see through the cloaking device? Finally, on the last day of my supplies, I found an example of my prey wandering alone. I wanted this to be over with as quickly as possible. Uncharacteristically, I charged right into the bipedal mammal and managed to knock it to the ground. A muscle mass in its legs that was completely unexpected kicked me several times on my own height into the air, and it managed to turn my tackle into momentum for a roll to get back onto its feet. It seemed to grasp what I was and what I was doing within seconds of first contact. It bared its teeth at me. I don't know if that was an aggressive gesture, a defensive one, or something else. It closed its mouth and began to make noises in its throat, forcing air through its nasal passage. What happened next was disgusting and the ultimate cause of my rapidly approaching demise. From 5 times my body length away, it launched a viscous liquid projectile from its mouth, which landed in my eye. It burned. For the gods, it burned. I tried to rub it off, but it just spread. Every inch of skin it came into contact with began to blister in seconds. At that point, I decided to cut my losses and leave. I washed the projectile off as best I could. It almost seemed alive, as the only thing that worked to stop the burning was a powerful antibiotic cream. I did a standard detox procedure and was told of my condition. Every screen was flashing a warning. I was going to die due to bacterial infection. Not even my plan of going into stasis for the journey home due to lack of supplies would have helped. The short time that the projectile was in contact with my eye, it infected me. No medicine that I had on my ship would save me. I doubt that even a fully equipped medical facility could have helped. The bacteria were beyond. Damn it all to the void. I cannot believe that this is happening to me. Me, one of the greatest hunters of my generation. Brought low by the weakest thing on a death world. I got back to the cockpit, to the ship, and punched the coordinates for home. I put up a standard quarantine procedures, as I have no idea how virulent any of these 700 different kinds of bacteria may be by the time my autopilot gets my corpse home. As a final request, please burn my corpse to stop the spread of any of this. I finish this writing with the hope that you, whoever you are, take this as a warning. Never go to the last planet in my navigation computer. I don't think in the entire history of our great people has such a simple hunt gone so horribly wrong. End of story. Story number 2. Human Spirit, written by Rosie013. Mayla could feel nothing but despair. Failure. Failure all around, but a failure in particular. She was the military governor's personal physician, and the sight of his cooling corpse on the gurney in this pitiful temporary triage shelter weighed heavily on her. The last of the loyalists were entrenched around the entire planet's last spaceport, all nervously waiting for the only remaining transport to be declared ready to evacuate them all. That was unlikely to happen. Without the military governor's leadership, the traitorous hordes would advance far enough to pour artillery fire down and destroy the transport. She had doomed them all by not saving him. A cry went up from outside. Mayla thought the next wave must be coming, but oddly, the barrage hadn't started up. She realized a mistake as a human, of all things, was hastily carried into the medical post. The human mercenaries hadn't been heard from for over a month, since they got cut off during one of the many retreats. That any of them still lived is a minor miracle in its own right. Maybe they had been worth the precious funds after all. Mayla's sense of hope died quickly as she realized the battered specimen in front of her was not long for this world. No matter what she could do to help it, even the human's fabled healing abilities would not stop the inevitable here. Belatedly, she made eye contact and realized that the human was conscious and looking right at her. And it smiled. It croaked out a greeting and asked what was wrong. Mayla's mental glam burst. Nearly in tears, she spewed out her woes on this dying creature, as if somehow he was a confessor of the old faith. Like as if taking her woes to the grave with him would free them from her shoulders. The human's words were quiet and slurred, but his eyes were clear and focused, still full of their inner fire that drove all humans. Spirit, she thought they called it. And what are you going to do about it? Who was she to try and do anything about it? She was just a private physician to a military No. She was the last remaining member of the governor's retinue. Mayla was military, but this whole retreat wasn't military anymore, and hadn't been for some time now. It was up to her to save everyone. They'd all been her patients at some point. Why would they have stopped now? She was still responsible for them all. She turned and barked to the nearest trooper on guard to bring her a radio. To her surprise, he snapped off a crisp salute and left with haste. This could work. This could work. She would organize and lead one last push, distraction enough to get the transport away with as many survivors as possible. As the air of renewed purpose quickly spread around the last of the loyalists, Mela turned to thank the human. She was too late. He was gone, but the smile on his face wasn't. If Mela could have seen herself in the mirror at that very moment, she would have seen an inner fire in her own eyes. End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you do, please consider supporting the author, even by popping over and leaving a thumbs up or a nice comment, just to show your appreciation for the story. However, if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below which will help immensely. I will see you all in the next one, and until then, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Cheers.